Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about the KOs of FANSTOYS that are allegedly on their way. We're going to talk about the implications, the overall broad implications that this may have. We're going to talk about the past KOs, how third party has been KO'd in the past, how other companies have been impacted, how they have reacted, what we have seen, and did it affect price. We're also going to talk about a lot of the questions that people are having. And will this actually affect the future of FANSTOYS? We're going to talk about all this and more coming up. Real quick, getting into a little bit of history of third-party KO of Masterpiece level. And the first dealings I really had that I kind of didn't understand what was going on and later on found out was this Yes Model. Yes Model was making the Make Toys. At that time I hadn't bought any Make Toys stuff, and I didn't know if Yes Model and Make Toys were working together on this or if this was a KO, but I went ahead and bought it. It was a cheaper price than what I'd been seeing anywhere, and then I come to find out it was a KO down the road. So there is that situation, but I don't 100% know if Yes Model knocked off Make Toys and hurt Make Toys, or Make Toys was hurting, so let's let another company manufacture our product. So that's still a bit of a question for me. I have these Yes Models. That's my representation on the shelf. But at the end of the day, they were half the price. See, Make Toys isn't new to being knocked off. This Mach A Toys. Yes Model has made this Guardia Defensor a KO oversize. It's not that much oversized, but it is a KO oversized. It's not oversized enough that I'd want to put it on my shelf. That's the kind of thing that Wei Zhang did back in the day with that Warbitron Bruticus, and that kind of stuff has been going on in the community for a bit of a while, but it's usually changed. It's usually a KO oversize, not a direct one-to-one. So the next figure that seems to have gotten KO'd in third party, and I would have to say is actually was a successful KO, was DX9's Richtofen. And this was KO'd by two different companies. On the left is Pocket Toys, and on the right is Art of Duplicates, the AOD, and the Deformation Glider. Now, the left one, the Pocket Toys one, is still, I think it's still pretty dirt cheap. You can find it everywhere dirt cheap. I hear that is a terrible option. I went with the AOD Art of Duplicates one because I think it was first, but I just went with that one. I liked it, and I liked it so much I actually sold my original off. Now, did this hurt the price of the DX9 original? No, not at the time. I actually sold my original for twice what I paid for it after I picked this thing up for like 50 bucks. And I was happy with this. I'm still happy with this. This is the one I have on my shelf today. I don't know anything about the Pocket one other than every review is negative. So DX9 seems to be ducking out of Masterpiece race these days. Is this a small part of the DX9 equation on why they are tapping out? Who knows? But it may actually be part of it. I still think that if DX9 does a run of Richtofen, it's still going to sell okay. Not great, not as well as it did in the early days, because we have more competition down the road like FANSTOYS. But the other weird thing is that some people say they still like the aesthetic of this better than the FANSTOYS aesthetic. But we do know FANSTOYS will have a better paint job. FANSTOYS will have die cast where this does not. But still, that's what people talk about. Now, the next one I was hearing about was when X-Transbot's Crack Up was getting KO'd. Somebody was going to KO that figure. And I don't know if they were intending to just kind of knock it off and that one only, or they were going to copy every single one and just kind of make a Minosaur right alongside X-Transbots. But Keith knew what he was doing, and he priced this at 40 bucks. Now, I don't know what he was expecting to price it before all of this, but when this came out at 40 and then subsequently started getting more and more expensive, I think I got it at like 33 at Show Z. And then each other release was more expensive, like 52 for the next one, and then the last two, the arms were like 72. So it just got more and more expensive down the road. But I think that showing that you're going to make this for 40, and then a third-party company like a KO company can't really make this for 20 and be profitable. So that really did end it. That's a really good way, really smart move by Keith, and he squashed it before it was an issue. And of course, Takara always gets knocked off. They're not third party, they're official. Now, they get knocked off because they're official, but in the early days, I was always trying to like make excuses for KO because I wanted to get cheaper figures and all this kind of stuff. But nowadays, I really am convinced Takara is either getting kickbacks from KO companies, charging them like a $5,000 fee, and then you can do a production run or something, or they're selling off the stock that didn't meet their quality concerns. And I know a lot of people feel like Takara is low quality these days, but a lot of this stuff, I saw this with Beast Wars. With the Beast Wars figures, when the Black Arachnia figure, I got one from Takara, and then like 4 weeks later, there was another one that came out, and they're exactly the same. There is no difference between them. Usually with a KO, you can see some sort of difference, a difference in sprue marks, difference in paint apps, and difference in something here and there, but those were precisely 100% exactly the same. The only difference is where I had one spot where I could not plug something in on the abdomen, and that was the only difference. Maybe those were rejects. The other thing about Takara is, who really knows? Once they put a figure out, if it gets knocked off, well, not right now they're getting Seekers knocked off, but if they're getting their old Bumblebee knocked off, what do they care? They're looking forward to the next Bumblebee. And a lot of people think this other Cliff Jumper is not even Takara. All these pictures of Takara's Cliff Jumper, a lot of people feel like that's a KO. But the weird thing is that we got the quote-unquote KO of Bumblebee version 2.0 right after. We're talking weeks after we got the official, meaning that either something shady was going on, or Takara just sold theirs. Or it was a Saturday Night Special the factory made them. Who knows? So the big part of the conversation goes back to these three figures that are allegedly getting KO'd. So we're going to talk about all three of them, and then we're going to get into the wider implications that these may cause. First of all, there are people out there saying that this Phoenix is not actually one that's on the list, but I really feel like this has been done before, right? We've already kind of been there and done this with the soft one, and it was not a KO, it was a licensed out. And I really felt like FANSTOYS was treading on some really thin water there. They were really doing something. They were going out on a limb for whatever reason to make the clear one. But then again, when they made the clear version, I think that could have also just been, if it breaks, don't blame us. We're making it. If it breaks, don't blame us. So that might have been some false narrative spit out by FANSTOYS because they know clear, transparent stuff breaks pretty easy, and they just wanted some sort of a scapegoat on it. But who really knows what was going on with that situation? With this situation, are they really KOing this? The next one I want to talk about is Lupus, and they are KOing Lupus, this company. We're going to talk about the name of the company here in just a bit, but looking at it side by side, and I got to looking at this, which looked like a bar of soap, and I was thinking, this bar of soap doesn't look like what I think Lupus looked like, so I had to get a picture, and I had to do a side by side for myself. And I'm already doing it, so let's do it in a video. So, looking at them side by side, I'm starting to wonder the quality on this. How's this going to look? Because that looks terrible. But of course, once it's painted and they do all that kind of stuff with it, and they add some die-cast, if they do add die-cast, then all of this kind of stuff added into it, it might look as good. It might look better if they put a better paint job than what FANSTOYS did, who really knows. I think they're trying to match it exactly 1-to-1, and we're going to get into more when it comes into FANSTOYS reissue plans. So the big question is this one. For some reason, this one is the one that's going to come out first, if it does come out. Okay, so we have Quietus, and it's a great figure, and I have both versions of Quietus and all this good stuff. It's still, this one's up for pre-order, the BT-01 Hurricane Not Quietus, and it's going to be the first one, not the T. This is not going to be the recolored one, the repainted one, so it's going to be the first one from my understanding. So there's a lot of questions that arise when it comes to this figure. Now, first off, it's a KO of FANSTOYS. FANSTOYS is known for high quality and die cast, great paint, really good materials, more or less hold up. Yes, there are some breakages here and there, but overall the materials for such a complex transformation hold up very well. Quietus is one of the best figures that they've made, and of course, why not lead with the KO of that? And they've never been KO'd before successfully, so with all of this said, Quietus is actually a good one, but will the KO hold up? So a picture surfaces of I guess on the left is a KO and on the right is the official. And we really do not know if these pictures really mean anything. But okay, they surface. Everybody talks about it. The KO looks lighter. So is there less die cast? Is there something they're doing to cut corners? Is the plastic that much cheaper? Because generally you can use different types of plastic in it, but most of this, the hard plastic's hard, the soft is soft. So why would it be so much lighter from one to the other? So that might say the quality might not be there. There's a big chance the quality is not there. But looking at this picture also, you can see that the paint seems to have a nice FANSTOYS paint job. I mean, really looking at it, you kind of think that really is the FANSTOYS one. It's FANSTOYS versus FANSTOYS in this picture. But then I get to looking a little bit closer, and if you look at the pelvis or the abdomen area between the two orangish transparent pieces on the left, see, that's supposed to be painted silver. It's silver on mine, and it's purple on this one. So I start to wonder, this might actually be the KO. So who exactly is this company? It says KFT, Keen Funny Toys. So it's the KFT F002 Crazy. And so with that, there have been a multitude of different names of these figures depending on where you're looking at it. So it's changed here and there, KFT, the F002, and all this. So the name, the number, the association with it is not consistent anywhere. So it starts to make you wonder the first fan theory of this. So the first fan theory is that people are saying that this is just hype. So FANSTOYS made this up. They're created some sort of a myth of this, and it's more or less going to promote their, say, reissue of this figure. Reissue of this figure. So really, it would be a true reissue, because we know that there was some of the stock that was held back for about 400 of them, and then that was put back out later at a much higher price. And now this thing's going to reissue at $220. The original one, I remember buying it. I remember telling my wife, she was sitting next to me when I pre-ordered it, $160 to $220. That's not a huge increase considering what's going on in the world, but it's pretty hefty. So then that kind of gets us all thinking, is this really a conspiracy fabricated by FANSTOYS to promote their reissue? And I don't think so. I think that is just a bunch of nonsense that people are making up and saying out there. And the fact is, if FANSTOYS wants to reissue it, they can reissue it. If a company's trying to knock them off during the time that they're reissuing, that shows that there's some sort of a connection there, or it's one of their tactics, reissue the product to keep the KO from being successful, because obviously it's going to be better quality. So the next thing people are trying to say is that there's going to be a lower price on all their future releases. If a KO is competing in there and they're KOing their product, that it will lower the price. I have to tell you, they will not do business the same way Keith does business, which is smart. And I'm not saying FANSTOYS isn't smart, but what they came out and did is they said that any retailer that carries this KO will no longer carry our new released product. We will no longer supply you with product anymore. You're off our list. And that's one way to do it, so there's no chance of them lowering their price due to this. Now you can get a cheap knockoff that might not meet the quality standards that we're used to with FANSTOYS, but the thing is, they're doing business a little bit different. I believe that these KOs, if they really come out, will just make FANSTOYS want to raise their price. And it sounds ridiculous, but get this. They think, well, if our stuff's going to get knocked off, we got to make all our money on that first run, so let's charge whatever we want, because people will buy it, and then down the road, years down the road, when it gets KO'd, then people could get a cheaper, lesser version of it. So I don't think they think at all like Keith, at all like any of these other ones, or even like Takara. They're in their own world, in their own game, and they're playing it the way they want to play it. Some people say that this could be the beginning of the end of FANSTOYS. There are some theories out there that FANSTOYS will stop making figures if they keep getting KO'd and they can't win and they can't, get paid for it. I'm a firm believer people should get paid for their work. Yes, I buy knockoff product, but people should get paid for their work. And for that, I understand the situation that they're in. I do not think this will end FANSTOYS. In fact, if they do own their own factory, they can actually make other stuff on the side to keep it going, and they can make their own stuff. They can make regular products and then make a run of FANSTOYS toys, and then they can make other regular products. It's something you can do if you own a factory. Really, that's a smart move on them business-wise. But I don't think this will end them. I think they will play the game however they want to play the game, and they will still be very successful. People will still seek out their product. And I see it with DX9. When all these KOs were hitting, people still paid a premium to get DX9 because it was sold out. They paid a premium, and I think that's the same thing that's going to happen with FANSTOYS. But I do still feel FANSTOYS is way overpriced for what they're selling. The other point I want to talk about with the reissue is that FANSTOYS has already been talking about reissuing Lupus. They weren't really talking about reissuing Cyclonus again, so that came out of the blue. So I don't know why. Now, some people say the reason that Cyclonus is getting reissues is sort of a bot blocking of X-Transbots with their premium paint version, and they're doing it just out of spite. I don't know if that's really what's going on with that situation, but with the Lupus, obviously they're going to reissue this one sort of around the same time that we get Croc there, because who wants to buy a figure and not get the rest of the team? And this Lupus has been sought after like crazy. But will they make enhancements to the paint job? Will they do anything different? I know they've made upgrades to their Insecticons. And lastly, what does this mean? Broader implications for the entire collector market. What if this is truly a company that's going out trying to knock off some third-party masterpiece? Why don't they do some other stuff that's in high demand, such as this Contact Shot? Why not make a KO of Contact Shot? And why not try to go after Make Toys designs that they already have? Why do these companies want to just knock off stuff? Why don't they go after unused designs? Because that would be a really smart deal. Finish out the Headmasters that Make Toys already started, and then pick this up too. And they could even do it legitimately, because on Make Toys is so broke that they could probably get these designs for very cheap and just go forward with it and make as many as they want. So I'm not really sure what will happen in the future, but if this company is out actually getting away with KOing stuff, then we might see some good stuff out of them in the future. So let me know what you think about all these KOs of FANSTOYS and what's going on right there. Are you in on any of these? The price that I'm hearing is anywhere between 80 and 130. I'd rather see the 80. And would you buy these? Would you support this company? Would you not support the company because you love FANSTOYS that much? Or would you hopefully get one of these really expensive FANSTOYS figures for really cheap? I'd like to know in the comments below. Like and subscribe to Daring Hanger out.